Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake, a sad New York sports edition. That means a lot of people like to listen to it, even the New Yorkers. I guess that's the fun thing. As the Yankees and Dodgers teed it up this weekend, and I can give you some more and some final thoughts on that. Last year's World Series, which the Yankees lost. People might forget that. Just if there are some little things I saw there. Also, for those NBA folk, the New York Knicks, who a lot of fans were allowed to watch them because the Yankees were losing a baseball game 18-2 as they played their last game of the season. So yeah, I think it's gonna be mostly New York focused. It always is with you, bro. Talk about something else, and I might have some goofs and spoofs along the way. Welcome to Wake and Jake. Let's do Yankees Dodgers. So, the World Series rematch. Dodgers won last World Series in 5 games. Yankees blew 2 of them. Maybe that'll be a theme of the episode. And yeah, it was funny hearing Jim's thoughts. He said his sports gear kicked in, that when the Yankees took an early lead and Judge homer, he kind of gave that like, yeah, let's go. Let's get these guys back. Which regular season baseball doesn't have a ton of that. If you're wondering, and maybe you're someone that wouldn't listen to Talking Yanks, but you would listen to this, both our votes were that those are different baseballs, that game 1 was juiced. Hey, a lot of great players on the field. It's not knocking them at all. If you go through baseball's recent history of like their special games, and I guess this is a little Yankee-centric because I don't watch all of them when they do I was going to reference the Mexico games, but yeah, everyone just talked about the altitude. But the London game the Yankees played a couple years ago, I mean, the ball was flying crazy. They said there was like a wind tunnel and stuff, but it wasn't baseball. Yankees Red Sox, that was insane.
Literally an arcade game.
I'd have to double check. Was it Cubs Mets, Cubs Cardinals? I don't know if those games got out of hand. I know Ian Happ homered because he's Captain America. BBD will be on that. But also, I know a couple of the Iowa games, Yankees White Sox game a couple years ago, the ball was flying like crazy. Same with yesterday. The ball was going this weekend, and that's fine. And hey, sometimes that happens, and there's a lot of good players. I just say this, if you want to zoom out and you're MLB and you control the balls, it was like a whole thing a couple years ago. MLB, like they control the baseballs that are used. I don't know. Send 10 that are 10. Send 10. They use 10 balls an inning now, which, by the way, that's insane. Send 10 barrels over to L.A. and let them go big time. Any good research there?
Again, this isn't me watching any of these moments, but the 2023 Cubs-Cardinals London series, one of the games, I mean, almost identical to how game 1 of the Dodgers-Yankees game went. The Cardinals won the second game by a score of 7-5, overcoming a 4-0 deficit after the first inning.
So you're going script writers.
Script writers just juicing some offense.
I don't know about all that. I know a couple of the balls that got hit went a long way, and a couple homers snuck out that some people were surprised on. Either way, if you're saying, hey, cut this Yankees propaganda, the home runs helped the Yankees more. They hit 4 of them early on. And credit to Tony Gonsolin for locking in and settling in. He might have been tipping out of the windup or something of that nature. But he stays in the game. He gives them valuable innings, which that matters for the rest of the series and the rest of the game. He turns into the winning pitcher as the Dodgers get Max Fried, kind of the first inning of his Yankees career that he's really been gotten. And it's by the top of the Dodgers lineup. And it's Shohei. And, that was one of the ones that was a wall scraper that, again, the Yankees got theirs. Goldies didn't get out in a big way. And then it was just good at-bats by amazing baseball players. The Yankees have had Trent Grisham have an amazing start to this season. The Yankees have had Ben Rice, who shows up in the final game, have an amazing part to this season. But the Dodgers, who were sans Mookie Betts the whole weekend, Teoscar Hernandez, I think, has become underrated in a way. Max Muncy is a guy that can get hotter than anyone in baseball. I mean, his cold is also cold. Max doesn't always have a ton of the middle area. He was really cold to start the year. He's getting really hot. And Andy Pages, who's, I don't want to say a bonus player for them, but in a way they have backup plans without Andy Pages. He has been amazing for them, and, they were doing a whole story as he's now Teoscar is his mentor, and sure, why not? James Outman, where are you? Are you okay? The Yankees, tough to come into that game, start out guns a-blazing. If we are talking scriptwriters, Judge and Shohei, both first inning homers. Friday night baseball. No other sports on. I don't think there was hockey. Not that the hockey-baseball overlaps a ton. I think NBA had wrecked.
NBA was done.
Well, they were waiting for the Knicks Thunder on Saturday. Yeah. As a sports spotlight goes, the Yankees and the Dodgers had it. World Series rematch, two biggest cities, two larger-than-life superstars. They both homer in the first inning. Pretty good. Yankees blowing a lead to the Dodgers in the first game. Not as fun for Yankee fans. Pretty cool for Dodgers, who are just big brother and everyone these days. Padres, you guys were great, big brother. Yanks, you guys are great, big brother. The Dodgers, I saw some Cubs fans that were frustrated, didn't talk about them more on Talking Baseball. They took 2 out of 3 from the Reds, and that's feels like every Reds series for the past 2 years now. That the Dodgers haven't kicked into gear, and they're leading every offensive category. That's a little unfair because Shohei has. Shohei has been one of, if not the best hitter in baseball. Freddie Freeman, who was starting to hedge my bet and be like, is there a chance Freddie gets old? I think I mentioned it on Foolish's Top 50 episode. I was like, is this the year Freddie? I mean, he's 35, turns 36. He has not slowed down. He's having one of his best offensive seasons. So, Will Smith, all he does is get on base and be underrated. Max Muncy can get hot as any player in baseball. And that's like Tommy Edman bonus piece where there's times that Tommy Edman's been in the middle of this lineup. The Dodgers offense ranks first in average on-base percentage, OPS, runs, and homers. And I don't know who's playing above their skis. I guess that's what I'm trying to get across. I could have some concerns about a couple of the Yankees games I mentioned a little bit ago, and will they slow down? Could Will Smith slow down a little bit? Yes, but he's also been we rated him the best catcher in baseball this decade. Freddie, could the numbers come down a little bit? Yeah, but he's a Hall of Famer. Tommy Edman, the numbers aren't great, and he just contributes in every way. Mookie didn't play the series. His numbers should get better. His numbers are underachieving. Muncy's back to his area code. Teoscar is right where he lives. So this team is there. It's going to be interesting to see how the pitching goes health-wise the rest of the way, because they're obviously already deep in their depth chart of pitching. They're going to get some of these guys back. Who are they going to be able to acquire? I keep poo-pooing it. We had Rob Lowe on Talking Yanks, flex, and he asked us who are the Dodgers going to get at the deadline, and I was like, I don't know, dude. If you get someone at the deadline, you have to upgrade. Mm-hmm. I don't think of some of the players we've talked about as being, if it's not a strong deadline, the best player traded would be blank. Nathaniel Lowe, was that thrown out? I don't know. Let's see who is available. Let's see how the Dodgers treat it. And honestly, they're 2 games up in the West. They're going to be in the postseason. I wonder if they ever run away with the division. Yeah, I guess their bullpen right now, the back end of their bullpen is Dreyer, Banda, Trevino, Stratton, and Noah Davis. So, everyone, they'll be in the market for pitching, and they won't be afraid to pay for it. But they also have an IL of Glasnow, Sasaki, Snell. Brewstar is just always waiting for the postseason. Kopech, Trinan, Kirby Yates, strained hammy. So they are who we thought they were. Power is power. They're just big brothering everyone that comes in their way. I don't know if they'll truly be tested until the National League playoffs. I guess all that, hey, Dodgers, enjoy. That's the whole thing we said from the start of this when Shohei signed a fake real contract. Like, okay, $2 million a year? What? For the Yankees, I'm okay. I'm okay. It sucks that you lost game one in that fashion, and we kind of didn't like one of Boone's bullpen moves in different ways. It was a baseball game. You had a nice lead. You stepped off the gas, and the other team caught you, and then you didn't want to burn your bullpen. Like, I don't know. I want to see the Yankees do more of that to other teams. Well, I guess I don't need them to go down early. Second game's a blowout. I've done this before, but I want to do it one more time. Because Will Warren, young Yankees pitcher, Eno Saris liked what he saw from Will Warren. Foolish Bailey, Eno Saris' son, liked what he saw from Will Warren. Where Will Warren steps up, he had a slow start. And Yankee fans are comparing him to Clark Schmidt, Mike King, kind of Yankees player generator at pitcher the past couple years. And he's getting rocked around. First month or so in the bigs, 7 starts to the tune of a 5.65 ERA. And we're like, okay, I don't know where we're at with Will Warren. Since then, Will Warren went on a heater. Will Warren in 4 starts, 4-0, the Yankees were. 22 innings, 33 strikeouts, a 2.05 ERA. Athletics and Mariners are in there. So is Texas and Colorado. Texas still with a case of the can't hits, although they had a nice weekend. And then Colorado, 4 innings, 2 earned runs. It was a rain delay too, so that was something. But, okay, so picture this. You're a young pitcher on the New York Yankees. You're in your rookie year. In your last 4 starts, 33 strikeouts, 22 innings pitched, a 2.05 ERA. The light bulb is coming on. You've got a good MLB fastball. You've got a couple pitches that can work off of that to get you through a game. The light bulb's gone on. Your ERA is down to 4.09, and now you're facing the big bad Dodgers. Will Warren has a good start. He's like the toast of the town, and look at this new shiny starter the Yankees have for 6 years. 1.1 innings, 7 earned runs, 6 hits, 4 walks. Tough. Welcome to the league, kid. I don't know the rest. I don't know the next part of his story. I'll be excited to find out. Like, that's what comes next. Let's see what you got, kid. If you got the moxie to bounce back. So you got Cleveland or Boston? Boston. So, ooh. Will Warren's MLB The Show life. Dodgers to Yankees, Red Sox. Let's find out, kid. And hey, the other beauty of baseball is if Will Warren goes out and throws 6 innings, 1 earned run against the Red Sox, all is forgotten in a way. That Dodgers thing will be back to Yankees fans forever. But then it's like, hey, you had a bad day at the office, you bounce back, and your numbers would still be good for now more than half your career.
Yeah. And, if you're going to pick, if we were going into this, and, he has to do one more good start against Boston, but if we could say you're going to have good start versus Boston, bad start versus Dodgers, or switch them, we pick good start versus Boston, right? That would be, it's easier to, in my head, it's easier to shake the Dodgers one-off game as a blip and whatever.
You think so?
Like, Garrett Cole, we still think about, kind of bad versus Boston. You don't want to start that.
Have we had a Red Sox guy in a while? Like, was Rodon good against them last year? I'm trying to remember. But yeah, it's an interesting case study. I think there's an argument if Boston just keeps lumping along this season that you'd take the Dodgers game. But I understand what you're saying, and that's game 1 against the Red Sox. Him versus Walker Buehler. we'll get there. Aaron Judge showed up. That's really cool. What he is doing to baseballs. And it finally hit. There was a little bit there where Judge was sitting in the 4 for WAR, and you're kind of like, wow, like that's amazing. He's amazing. I think Fangraphs, he's in the 5s. He's at 4.7 on Baseball Reference, and he's on path for a 12 WAR season, which people don't do that. I think the last one was Ruth. So what Judge is doing is amazing. I'm glad he showed out. I wish the boys joined them a little more, but they could have very easily won Game 1, and then we'd be talking about, wow, the Yankees have won 8 or 9 series in a row, and they took down the Dodgers, and this is a totally different Yankees team. They look great. Instead, they get embarrassed at the party night 1, embarrassed at the party night 2, and it'll be interesting to see the rest of the way and what the story of their season has. They've still got a couple old and young question marks. You know, Trent Grisham and Ben Rice, are you going to believe in that the full season? Are they going to bring it the full year? Excited to find out. Excited to get health updates. Jazz Chisholm should be back soon from them. Luis Heel is throwing the ball. Can he get back and look like Luis Heel at some point this year? Yankees are still very good. They're entering a mini gauntlet, Cleveland, Boston, Kansas City Royals, that we will find out more about this team. And, you know, I said the Dodgers are first in a lot of offensive categories. Second, Yankees in on-base percentage, OPS, and home runs. Third in runs. So sliding behind them there. This is all stuff. I mean, these were the 2 World Series teams last year. I'd like to think I would take a World Series rematch series between whatever teams it would be, but it's also Yankees-Dodgers. The AL still feeling slightly thin this year, although Detroit continues to get it done. 39-21, that's no joke. And they've got 4 against the White Sox. So let's see where they could start ending up in crazy town. They've got 4 against the White Sox, 3 against the Cubbies, and then they have Baltimore. So this Detroit thing will not be slowing down in the next week and a half. I guess I just want to put this all together. I can hear Justin Pennick right now. He's in the studio recording next to us, and he's got a unique sound to him. You guys have heard him on here before. And he's talking about Jackson Dart, and I'm hearing, again, no shots fired to the Giants people, and I'm, knock on wood, I don't know if I'm lucky or unlucky to be a Giants fan. Like, that's, it's something, you know, Giants fans have a couple rings in a lifetime that you can be like, hey, that's pretty cool. Everything around it is kind of no bueno. You know, a Vikings playoff win, which I enjoyed. But yeah, I'm hearing him talk about Jackson Dart and how the Ole Miss, and like Jackson Dart is as coin flippy as a quarterback comes. And I'm rooting for them, and I hope he's a stud, because Giants fans are hitting the point of like they've earned some quality football in like their next chapter. Basically their next chapter since Eli. Like Daniel Jones didn't work. Seemed like it wasn't working.
Was a chapter.
There was just like the littlest glimpse of hope that made the chapter continue. It's over. It's over. So they're on to Jackson Dart, and I hope that's something fun for them. Jets, I mean, my God, I can't picture a worse team to really support. I was hoping Rex Ryan would take the job again just for entertainment and because he was good for them. Sneaky.
Best years they had.
I'll stay away from that. Nets are like a Hollywood set. Like you walk through it and you're like, oh, look at this. This is interesting. And then there's a big gust of wind and it just blows down and you're like, oh, this is nothing. Yankees and the Mets, we do that a lot on here. The Mets are trying to rebuild their franchise and stay away from LOL Mets. And, you know, besides some Soto jokes, their record is still amazing. I know Juan Soto seems kind of sad, but I don't know. You're also not going to want to see that guy up in a postseason at bat if you're the opposing team. And the Mets, I mean, look at their pitching. Look at everything we've talked about with the Mets. Them and the Knicks, in a way, have entered a new chapter of who they are. And the Yankees are the Yankees, and I won't do that to you now. Be better and win a little more. Anyways, it's their whole brand. That's the whole thing that gets me mad. The New York Knickerbockers. I love sports, as you guys might know, and if you love sports too, comment below. Subscribe. Appreciate you guys. I'm in an interesting spot with the Knicks, and I'll go really big picture, Jake, on you guys. One, I'm wearing a new outfit today. It's just a regular plain black shirt. I think it's cuts with a pair of bird dog shorts. It's a very good boy outfit. Like the black shirt's kind of slimming. The shorts look like they could be khakis, but they're essentially gym shorts. So it's kind of like, a work and play outfit if you needed it to be. I was feeling good about myself. I saw a guy that was like a slightly uglier, fatter version of me wearing a very similar outfit. And I was like, damn, that guy probably thinks he's looking kind of good today too. So then I questioned everything. That has nothing to do with any of this. That was just an anecdote I wanted to give to you, the people. For me, the Yankees, I go back, let's get old. I remember when they were on MSG and Al Troutwig and like, that's where you watch Yankee games. And I would get some Knicks games too, but I grew up, in more so of a baseball home. I love sports. As much Sports Center as a human could possibly watch that, like all sports, the three major sports were even to me. And I guess that's kind of how ESPN covered it. Like, there was hockey in there, and I used to be more into it, actually. I used to love goalies. As I played goalie in floorball, I played a lot of goalie in sports growing up, and like Martin Brodeur and Dominic Hasek, like Patrick Waugh. Like I was, like hockey playoffs, I would get down with. Still do. You guys have kind of seen that. And I'm just looking inside myself right now. Anyways, with the Knicks, I never was addicted. I guess I didn't play basketball a lot growing up. I played on one basketball team my freshman year of high school because my mom wouldn't let me play football. Made the team out of spite. What up, Mom? And the Knicks didn't make it easy. There's some cable stuff here. I think whatever we were subscribing to in Connecticut at the time, we got Yes Network, but then we didn't get MSG. So I couldn't watch a lot of the Knicks games. Like we'll get to a later part of this story, but like if there's a Knicks game, like BBD's watching it. It's like natural knee-jerk reaction.
When it's not those first couple weeks they're overlapping with MLB playoffs and we're like working,
right? I'm
watching.
Yeah, if there's a Knicks game on, you're like, oh, I'm gonna watch the Knicks game, and that's
Knicks
how
play tonight. I like know the answer to that question,
right? Where I was never really that level, except I was trying to get back to that level when this company kind of started going, where I was. Okay, so I'm going to try talking about the Yanks as like a living. What else are we going to do? And we would do JJR as a daily hour just to do silly, goofy stuff and try to be entertaining that way and get reps in front of a microphone. And then for me, being a sports guy, and it was a little me trying to be businessy as well, to be completely honest, as I'm starting to get followers on Twitter and I've got 3,000 followers, half of their profile are die with the Yankees, the Knicks, and the Giants. Okay, I'm not a Giants fan. And as you guys know, I don't super know the football X's and O's and like the truth of it. Like Homeboy's played a ton of Madden and watches football every Sunday. And there's some good conversations to be had in that realm. But there's also obviously a much deeper level to knowing ball that I don't really strive to know. I just like to know a little better, a little more to be dangerous. Basketball, there's a part of me that loves basketball. Basketball was arguably my favorite sport to play. Like a good basketball run. Growing up, we played so much basketball. It was a couple times a week. We were playing pickup runs and like for hours, that youthful energy. And my buddies, like they were, this is loser stuff, but like the star basketball players of the high school. And you need 10 guys to make a run. I was in the run. I was probably 8, 9, or 10 on any given day. But again, that's complimentary to them because I can hop on a basketball court and play with most runs. I think you guys know there's, you could tell the runs I wouldn't be able to do that hot in. But I could hop in a basketball game today, not have a ton of fear of how bad it's going to go. What was that about? It's about basketball. It's that I really like the sport, and I know there's another advanced part to basketball that I don't fully process, but I listen to Simmons and Russillo, and they talk about the drop coverage and stuff. I mean, for me, yes, pick and roll and who's the shooter. I'm there, and I'm not. But when we were starting this, I was like, well, you know what? I'll do Knicks too. Like I'm a Knicks fan. They haven't given me a ton to be a massive fan of. Like it was awesome when Melo and Stat came over. Like that was exciting, and I did watch more games. And I think there was a New Year's Day that I went to a Knicks game and like emptied all the money I had in my bank account at that time to go do that with my girlfriend at the time, Steph. Sorry, girl. She's very happy. Couple of kids. We don't check in a ton, but I think the scary thing for me to say is I'm pretty much a fair weather Knicks fan. I don't do the bad years. The other caveat to all of this, and I guess the basketball side of things, I'm a huge UConn men's basketball fan. That is, growing up, that was appointment watching for me. I was watching every game. That's been a little tricky as I've lived in Dallas and Denver. But I'm getting more back into it, and as are they. Let's go Huskies. So basketball, I've watched a lot. I've processed a lot of basketball. I know good versions of basketball. I know bad versions of basketball. The other thing there, UConn is a very successful basketball program, and the fact it comes out of the great state of Connecticut is bizarre. If we're being 100. But okay, so now let's look at my sports teams. I grew up liking the Yankees when they were in dynasty mode. I grew up watching the UConn Huskies while they were in championship mode. My football team is an oddball. I went Denver Broncos just because I like Terrell Davis. And they're a pretty damn good franchise. I know they just had a rough patch, but, they were winning Super Bowls, Elway's final years, and, even they snuck in some winning along the way. Peyton to Peyton, if you will. The New York Knicks weren't giving me a lot. They weren't giving me a lot. So that's where the fair weatherness did kick in until we were doing Talking Knicks. And I was watching the games, but it was kind of the worst time to be watching Knicks games, if we're being real. I mean, they were some of those lineups. If you want to start ripping names, Beebs, knock yourself out.
I mean, the year we most aggressively did Talking Knicks was the year that they end up getting RJ Barrett, I think.
Right.
Maybe that first year of RJ.
One of the rolling jokes.
A lot of Frank.
We still have a Talking Knicks group chat that's, some of my buddies I grew up with, BBD. And, a lot of times there's just silly stuff in there, but also a lot of Knicks basketball. And, one of the running jokes for years is when I was living in Denver, I went to the Knicks game when they were in town. Ron Baker got the start, and his family was at the game, and he grew up in the area. It was the only start he got that year. Mm-hmm. So, the Knicks, that's a JV basketball move. Like, hey, I know you're normally coming off the bench, but kind of none of this matters. Why don't you get out there and give us a change of pace in front of your hometown tonight, Ron? That's not how the NBA works. Anyways, Emmanuel Mudiay, Elfrid Payton, there was just
Mario Hezonja.
There was just a laundry list of players. Some of the Noah Vonleh, talking myself into who he is as a player. It was tough stepping in front of a microphone and being like, yeah, Knicks lost 3 out of 4 again. And what did we like and what didn't we like? It was tough. It was trying as a fan. It was trying as a content creator. And I didn't have that burning passion, which makes me check in with other sports fans. Because again, as a Yankee fan, you're spoiled. Our worst, most frustrating season I've ever watched was 82-80, 2023. And that was kind of brutal. That for me, a guy that quote unquote loves sports, which I do, why quote unquote, I can watch pretty much any game, and I'm gonna have a good time watching it. It's just the fan bases that deal with real losing. Like, there's people that are real Rocky fans. Like, how are they supposed to spend their year? The Chicago White Sox should be a main franchise of the sport. And they've been horrific for a few years now. And then, like, what's going on in Baltimore right now is pretty wild, and nobody really expected. And that's kind of how sports happen sometimes, and it's part of the beauty of it. That being said, the Knicks are happening. We were feeling it in the streets a little bit. John Boy Media, we're now based out of New York. That, with the Knicks advancing, it was like, hey, should we get more involved in this? Like, how do we want to be? I had people tweeting at me. They were like, Jake, it's too late for you this year, bro. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm sorry. There's a lot going on. But, our office isn't that far from MSG, and some of the post-game chaos and all of that good stuff. When the Knicks won Game 5, I got a text from Joseph McFly. You guys might have seen him in the Japanese media this weekend. He operates under Joe's McFly, Joseph Solano. And he texted me, stream Game 7, ? I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Because from the content side, there's always a few questions you have to ask. Where would we stream it? Would that be a Wake and Jake stream? Thinking of the John Boy Media channels, I mean, it's like that, talking Yanks. Like, the John Boy Media main, that ain't happening. That would throw a lot of people off. Probably more bad than good. That is like, it's just an interesting thought exercise at John Boy Media. Like,
literally, what channel do we do that on?
Right. So that was the first thing. The second thing is like, yeah, there's something to that. It would have been Monday night tonight. Me, Joe's, get Beebs in the mix. Zoe's like a massive NBA fan. He'd want to be around for it. We'll see who else comes from the woodwork. And again, if it's not, doesn't have to get 100K views every time to just be fun content. Watch the game with the fellas, and hopefully the Knicks win. And if they do, we're by the Garden. We could hop over there and get in the chaos. Like, that's literally Joe's dream. That's what Joe's intention was. Joe's wanted the Knicks to win and then get involved in the chaos around MSG, which, hey, I don't hate. I mean, part of me actually does. A little bit little guy syndrome. Packed crowds don't love it. And people get, like, actually nuts over there. But I would have been one of the people kind of getting nuts. Like, if get in where you fit in. Here's my other thing, and maybe I had the bandwagon Jake thing in my head too much. I was like, you know what? If we're going to stream Game 7 and we want, people to actually watch with us that aren't just maybe our diehards, that, if we've streamed a lot of stuff here, and a lot of great people have tuned in, and some of you are them, and we thank you so much. Let's see, streams that come to mind. Bino. If you're not familiar, that is a flicking a ball with your fingers game. One of the new ideas Jimmy had for the warehouse, I was like, Jim, we really got to do this right, because this is known as one of the most boring things in the world. He's like, we got it. And we kind of would, but we've streamed a lot, and we're very lucky that a lot of people would tune in for a lot of what we would do. For the Knicks, I was like, if we're streaming Game 7, and I'm trying to be real, I think I want to stream Game 6. I punched that at Joe's a little bit, and Joe's always has a secret agenda. He was on the Japanese news station this weekend. Saturdays aren't great for him. He's got like an actual family and stuff. So I knew what was going to happen. And then I just Joe'sed him for a couple texts, which felt really good. I just kept bothering him in an inefficient way. And if I'm being honest, the truth of the matter is, Kendrick, I didn't think the Knicks were going to win Game 6. It's a little bit modern NBA. I said this about the Thunder Timberwolves series, the one game that the Thunder lost. Like, the Thunder got killed by Minnesota, and it was basically a rest game for them. And it blows my mind that the NBA and the best athletes in the world, like, a 3-day gap is much bigger than a 2-day gap. it's just how it works. I guess the sports science is there, and we've just flown past it. That the Pacers, for Game 5 at the Garden, they knew we got one more in Indiana. You almost don't have to empty the chamber, where the Knicks, the embarrassment of losing 4-1 is a little different than 4-2.
And even without that, just naturally the Pacers know they have games to work with, including at least one at home. Knicks, if you lose, you're dead.
Right.
It's just
right.
It's just sports.
It's just how it works. So they're going to Indiana for Game 6. What the Knicks' best players can do on a given night. It wasn't like it was going to be a rollover or anything like that, but it was the Pacers, in a way, were saving themselves for Game 6. Halliburton was the best player on the court, and Siakam kind of caught up. And just the Pacers' style of play and the easy baskets they can get, which I don't know if they'll be able to get those against the Thunder. It was part of what ended up being the difference in the series. But if we're being really real about it, let's cut through the 15 minutes of whatever I just did. They lost a historic Game 1 in one of the worst fashions you possibly can. Lorenzo Demalia from We Got Ice, I referenced him earlier as a potential stream body. Big Celtics fan, Boston guy, loves the NBA. NBA is his favorite sport. Easily. He is in a weird world where he's become a wiffle ball character as his lifestyle, and he likes baseball. The NBA is his 1-1. Easy. He likes the drama of it. I could Gen Z boomer him if I wanted to. He likes some of the stuff that I would never care about. And his old is starting to kick in, where he's like, wait, what's this CBA deal mean? And oh yeah, so. Before the series, these two teams very evenly matched. It was kind of a pick 'em a little bit. And the whole NBA this year, outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder, that was every NBA conversation this year. If it's not the Thunder, then it's blank. I think the first team that popped up for a lot of people was the Celtics, but the NBA is starting to enter an interesting territory of, boy, it's looking really hard to run it back. And maybe the Thunder are going to put that to test in the next couple years. But the Celtics literally ran out of bodies. And the Knicks might have had him. I think the Knicks had him, right? But they ran out of steam. So the Thunder are on this weird area where just nobody believes, because they're young and they haven't done it yet. Everything else would tell you they are a superior team, and they've kind of started showing that ever since Nuggets Game 7, which was kind of not their ultimate test, but it felt like that just brought them to a new area. After that, it was a hodgepodge, and it's kind of the fun of the NBA, and it's this debate between parity and super teams, but I think teams coming into this postseason that could have generally, if you took out OKC, which I'm pocketing this for next time, as if there's a team that's ever spoken about like that, I'm just going to believe in that team. And I do have a DraftKings OKC NBA winner ticket that I think's coming. Let's see where Indiana does this. If you took out OKC, teams that could have won the NBA title this year. Celtics, yes. Tatum got hurt. They won it last year. Don't think there's an argument. Knicks, yeah. If that Halliburton shot doesn't go in, or they don't historically blow it, we could either be talking about Game 7 at the Garden tonight, or the series could have just went differently. And that's, if you can't acknowledge that, I don't know if I can yuck ball with you. In the East, I think Cleveland, Cleveland was deep. They got hurt. One of their top 3 players got hurt. That changed everything they did, and Indiana was peaking at the right time. And Indiana also stole a game from them that, yeah, I think you'd be lying to yourself if it wasn't them. In the rest of the East, I think that's it. So 3 teams in the East. Okay. In the West, the Nuggets, yeah, people were on the Nugget train. They took OKC to 7 Like, that may end up looking like a crazy outlier. The Timberwolves, yeah, they're the ones playing those guys. So I can stop the argument there. Golden State, if Curry doesn't go down, they had a little bit of sauce that I think outside of OKC, they fit this exercise. The Clippers, they went 7 with the Nuggets. It was a heavyweight first-round match. Again, the Clippers have a little Clippers stank on them that you could very much argue the other side. I get it. Lakers, I don't think so. I think they needed another big man at least, and Luka LeBron was sick, but they needed more sauce on it. And I think that's it. I mean, people liked Houston coming in. Could I really make a hard sell for that? I won't. But that is really, when you're talking about teams that could have actually won it. Like baseball, we get to dream because you 3 pitchers and a couple guys get hot. Basketball, you kind of don't. I think there was a stat on Simmons today that was like in the NBA Finals, an underdog of plus 200 coming into the series has only won twice. Basketball,
over the course of a series in basketball,
the better team that stays healthy, it usually the maths decently. That there was a grouping outside of the OKC team that I think all checked enough boxes that, yeah, it could actually happen. I told Zoe coming into the series, because Zoe hit me with kind of the generic, and he was still sad that the Celtics lost and his favorite player ever got hurt significantly in Tatum. And he just hit me with a soft Zoe, this is going to be a good series. It's definitely going 7. My only old man take that I had to add to it was I told him I don't think this series is going 7. And my reason I said was both of these teams have a little bullshit to them in a bad way. Like Indiana, like Halliburton and Siakam, and they just run, and they don't have the star power that a lot of teams do, but it seems like Hallie is, re-entering that territory. He just kind of had a bad timeline where he entered the chat, he got hurt, kind of left the chat. Team USA ended up hurting him because he didn't play. Pacers slow start, and now he's kind of all the way back. But still, a lot of people are debating where he is on the Pantheon, and coming into this playoffs, it would have been a lot lower when he currently is now. The Knicks in the depth, which became a problem, and a little bit, some of this Knicks' best minutes this series was without Brunson. It was when Deuce was out there that their defense kind of turned impenetrable, and they still had enough offensively to go on a couple big runs. This isn't on Brunson. I'm not doing that at all. Like, Brunson and what he can do offensively is just fantastic. But more so, the point was one of these teams was going to blow a game. And that's kind of what I was alluding to. That one of these teams was going to win a loss, and that was going to very much affect what felt like 2 evenly matched teams that you could say, like, this is going 7. I can just feel it. This is going 7. One of these teams was going to blow a game, and it happened to be the Knicks in the first game in historic fashion. So it broke me a little bit. I obviously still watched, and meanwhile my Yankees went down 10 early, so that made it a lot easier to put the Yanks on the phone and watch the Knicks on the TV. But man, they are. Someone asked me which loss hurt more, the Yankees blowout or the Knicks, season ender. And for me, it's easy because part of my bandwagon fandom that I'm slightly embarrassed to say, is like, I don't let the Knicks hurt me. They've hurt me a lot. I know that's pathetic in its own way, but like so many seasons of half expectations of like, could they be a 7 seed? And it's what were those years even? Like, that's what I ended up looking back, being like, what did I really want from those teams? And every now and then you get a fun season from that, like the Steve Novak Knicks, the People's Champ. Like, that was electric. And I'll go for the ride on that, and I'll admit that it's bandwagon-y. But, man, there's just... Until it changes, until I need to see it to believe it, because there's just been so many years of not seeing it. And now the things are getting... They've made a turn as a franchise. I compared it to the Mets a second ago. Like, we're talking about them losing in the Eastern Conference Finals. This was a team that could barely get off the ground some years with, and I'm talking myself into Raymond Felton looks good again this year. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. The celebs at the game, more so the ex-Knicks players at the game, like, they have a full roster at each playoff game.
They get like a straight up like sick alumni section.
Yeah, like, they've done that really well, and they've changed the whole tenor of the franchise. So I don't want to attack that. I guess for me it was funny. They were like, are they gonna fire Tibbs? Are they gonna move Towns? And let's, NBA trades and that circus, like, let's see what happens. I'll be excited to see it. But Tibbs, I realize he got outcoached by Carlisle, who we've been giving a lot of love around the office and is getting more love. One of the most outlier titles of all time, Dirk by himself, is also with Carlisle. Carlisle's taken some other teams that should not have been places to places. So, yeah, you might be getting outgunned there, but who are you going to bring in that's not Tibbs? That person doesn't really exist. I saw my guy Ryan Rucco basically post that same thing on his IG story this morning. Because the whole tenor of the franchise has changed. But I don't let the Knicks in to hurt me. Or I guess maybe with the OKC caveat this year, if the Knicks went to the NBA championship, I would have gotten pretty hype. And I would have said, make something happen, have the miracle game, put the pressure on the kids. Maybe they snap. You never know. But I don't know. I think, I guess this was more so therapeutic for me to get where I'm at with the Knicks. And yeah, it's just a bummer, man, because this town had the juice for a couple days. Every bar, it's Yankees-Dodgers was going on. World Series rematch, Yankees. Every bar was not going to leave Yankees-Dodgers on a TV. Knicks only. And obviously there's some playoff stuff there. But man, I've already mentioned it on here and social media. The feeling in the street before Game 1 was so electric. And them blowing that game, and you can relive so many moments and shots and free throws. And again, I think the one that we've come back to laughing at as Knicks fans so many times, how'd that Halliburton shot even go in?
Like everything else bad that happened and should have been avoidable and all that.
A laundry list of mistakes.
Far more in control of the outcomes of everything that happened before that one. And the Halliburton shot just takes the craziest bounce in I've ever seen a game-winning shot take.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. There's Giannis rumors. There's always Giannis rumors, but I don't know if the Knicks are a fit for that. And they might just run it back because the Celtics are going to be out, and so okay, then it's Indiana again, which you kind of were there. I don't know. But yeah, that was feels like, unfortunately, there's a lot of New York sports days that are, here we go, buckle up. Yankees down 10-0 after 2. Knicks in it. But man, the Pacers just slowly bled them out, and their transition stuff was so killer. Just so many Knicks buckets that instantly got neutralized, and you're like, okay, so now Brunson's going to have to work for 10 seconds to hopefully get a look, where Siakam is just somehow on the other end by himself. So again, it's a credit to Indiana. And yeah, just a lot of New York sports. If there's a Beebs, if you have any Nick commentary to add, because again, closer to you than me.
Yeah, on both ends of things, both coaching and roster-wise, people seem to want big changes and all that, which is, people say that, I think, after any time you lose. There's going to be people that'll say that. But, first on the coaching end of things, like what I don't see the Knicks making the decision to get rid of Thibodeau for a guy who isn't like an experienced head coach elsewhere. Like, I don't think the only one that was like a maybe would have been like Johnny Bryant, who was their assistant under Tibbs and whatever. And then it's like, well, what are you even doing? I
heard Mike Malone.
That's where I was going next. And it's Mike Malone is the only guy. The only other guy who's this much like Tibbs is Mike Malone.
Yeah.
So it's just, what are you even doing there? So I just don't see it happening, and Brunson still loves him and all that. And objectively, like, you zoom out, and the Knicks had a very weird year where in a lot of ways they didn't live up to what you wanted until the playoffs, where they buckled down, and it kind of worked. And in many roundabout ways, Tibbs hits the right buttons that gets them through some series. And
right.
In a weird way, it was one of his better showings.
Yeah.
And where they were before. And then roster-wise, a lot of people want to do the cat thing, want to cycle someone in and out. And it's the NBA, and every team is there's a chance they make big moves because that's what the league has conditioned us to do, and so many teams have to move off salaries with the new CBA. That's pretty unforgiving and all of that. But the Knicks, the whole thing last summer was getting Brunson to that extension so they don't feel like they have to do anything huge like that just to get off money. Unless it's like Giannis says, I want to go to the Knicks and nowhere else, I don't see how a big, like, groundbreaking, foundation-changing move happens for the Knicks. And you look back on, like, every generation of the NBA and just give teams multiple years to work together. The first year of this version, when last year was pretty big change from last year to this year, roster-wise. First year, they make it 2 wins away from the NBA Finals with a conference that looks like it might end up even
worse next year,
shallower. So
the last 3 Eastern Conference losers have gone to the title game the next year. Would be worried about what's coming out of the West. And yeah, again, there should be a hint, a slight more hint of happiness as I look at the 2018-2019 New York Knicks that finished 17-65. Let's see. Most minutes, Tim Hardaway Jr. Second, Kevin Knox. Third, Dennis Smith Jr. Fourth, Damian Dotson. Fifth, Emmanuel Mudiay. Enos Freedom, formerly Enos Kanter. Noah Vonleh. Alonzo Trier. Frank Ntilikina. I kind of forgot about all that.
Memory hold a lot of Frank. I was in.
Yeah, for me, my snap on Frank was if he was on the Celtics, I would very much make fun of the way he plays basketball. Because he kind of didn't. So, hey, it got very New Yorky today, but there was New Yorky stuff to talk about. We'll see you in the midweek. We'll do something fun. Why not? Probably baseball, probably love. Thank you guys. Subscribe, and we'll see you soon.